Good morning guys, it's Tom here. This is Tom's Toys 95. Welcome to the channel if you're new. I am a video game collector and I also sell part-time on eBay. As you can see from the collection behind me, I've got quite a lot of video games. I'm mainly collecting for PlayStation. There's a shop not too far from where I live in Birmingham, 35-minute drive away, that I'm going to head to today. I've never been there before. It's called Entertainment World. I've heard really good things. I've been following it on Facebook for years and for whatever reason I've just never been. They always have good trade-ins and good second-hand retro video games on sale, but they also sell toys and collectibles as well, so I'm interested in seeing what they've got, so I'm going to head over now and show you some footage. Before we get into the footage, I do want to apologise, I didn't get any footage of the actual storefront. So as you can see here, you've got the Entertainment World sign and that really cool Mario picture above. I've popped an image on screen so you can see what it actually looks like. So we've just arrived at Entertainment World. As you can see, there's some Game Boy Color there in the window and a nice 2DS XL. There's some PSP games, PS3 games, and plenty of sort of NES and SNES games. I really like that Zelda game there. Not the best condition, but still a nice copy. And then we've got that Mortal Kombat as well. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's some horror figures there and lots of nice Wii games too. And as I say, this is just in the storefront. Wait until you see what's inside. So we're just inside and there's lots of these glass cabinets. So there's lots of Sega Mega Drive and Genesis games there. There's some sort of more NES and SNES. And then we move on to the Lucene 64 carts on the right, as you can see. Got some Sega Mega Drive there and some Nintendo Switch games, some DS games. There's so much stuff in here. Lots of PlayStation 2. That Manhunt looks nice. Got the PlayStation console, and then here's the loose copies of the N64. For me, I was looking for boxed copies, but I couldn't really see anything that took my fancy. But you've got some Super Nintendo games there in box, and some PlayStation 1 games. We've got some nice Game Boy copies there loose, and then some Nintendo DS games. I had my eye on this Pokemon Pearl version. Now, it was £40, which was a little bit more than I was hoping for. But there were some really nice things in here at good prices. I felt that one was a little overpriced, but I did have a chat with the manager, Rob, at the end, and he was a sound guy, and he took some money off my order, gave me a bit of a discount, so they're always open to haggling as well. I just felt that one was a little bit out of my price range for what I wanted to pay for that game. Over here we've got the VHS Corner. Some really nice VHS there, not just movies, but they had a lot of wrestling stuff. I think there was some wrestling going on the TV as well. They've got a lot of DVDs and box sets. Literally this whole store sells anything and everything to do with pop culture and entertainment, hence the name Entertainment World. I didn't get a chance to check out any of the consoles, but I do believe that there was a Mega Drive hooked up as well with Sonic on it, so you could have sat and played that if you wanted to. There's a lot more DVDs in here as well for those DVD collectors and movie collectors. As you can see, you've got some nice WWF there playing, and you've got some nice VHS, and there's the Sonic that I was telling you about. I'm interested in the PS3 game, so I was just having a quick look there to see what they had. I do have those in the collection already, but then they've got some nice Nintendo games there as well. That Zelda was American though, so I didn't pick that one up. But yeah, you've got some more horror movies here. Lots of DVDs, lots of Blu-rays, lots of VHS all around the store. They also sell music and vinyl as well, which I believe I got some footage of that later on. Then they've got a wall of WWF, so if you're into that sort of stuff, that's great. I really enjoyed looking through these game guides. There was nothing in there that took my fancy, but it's really cool taking a trip down memory lane, having a look at some of those retro games, going through those guides, seeing some of the cool artwork and reminiscing over some of the levels. Obviously, art books have sort of died out now, whilst they still do the odd one. You don't see them anywhere near as regular as you used to. And they did actually have some sealed ones as well, which was cool to see. We move on to the sort of figure section and comic books. There were so many comic books, I didn't even get a chance to look through half of them. It was cool to have a look through those Digimon ones, as you just saw on the top. This was kind of like the miscellaneous section of the store. There was a lot going on here, lots of figures, lots of comic books, lots of toys, anything and everything really to do with pop culture. So it's really nice to just have a rummage through and see what they had. I definitely overstayed my welcome. I was in this store for around about 2 hours just sifting through. I had a quick look initially, and then I went back, did a bit of filming, and then I went back for a third time and just looked in case I missed anything. There was so much here, it was impossible to look through everything in a short space of time, so I'm glad I left enough time to have a proper look. I also picked up a ZX Spectrum not too long ago with a bunch of games, sold that off, but I've still got some of the games left, so I enjoyed looking through those cassettes. And then here we've got another cabinet, quite empty, but there's a few cool games in there as well. I like that Ico there and the Zelda CD, as well as this cool Tombi demo disc. Next, we move on to the slightly more modern consoles, although they're still classed as retro now. We've got the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. Absolute huge ton of games here, really nice selection. I am actually collecting a full PS3 PAL set. I'm at around about 900 unique titles at the moment. So there was actually no games in here for me that I picked up. There was one or two that I did end up purchasing, but they were behind the counter, which the owner very kindly let me have a look at as they'd not long been traded in. But otherwise, a lot of sort of standard titles here. There were some cool and obscure ones, but nothing really too expensive or rare. Any rarer titles that they did have, they kept behind the counter or in a glass cabinet. The only thing I didn't like about the PlayStation 3 section was that they didn't include the manuals. The manuals were behind the counter with the disc, which I understand why, as we don't want anyone stealing manuals, but they don't disclose which games do have manuals and which don't. So I picked up 2 games and I had a 50% success rate. One didn't have the manual and one did, which was slightly annoying. Otherwise, we move on to the PlayStation 4 section now. They've got some great titles here as well. Lots of VR games too, which I like to collect for. And then they've got the Xbox One section. Now, I've always been a PlayStation gamer myself, and I collect PlayStation and Nintendo games. Xbox is not really something that I had as a kid growing up, and through my teenage years, I've always stayed sort of team PlayStation. Whilst I wouldn't consider myself a PlayStation fanboy, I'm very much am that in terms of my collecting habits, but I do intend to get into Xbox at some point. They do have some really cool titles and some good exclusives. Now, I have got some in my collection, and I do have some Steelbooks as well. I just need to find time to get around to playing them. I do own a 360 and an Xbox One too, so I will be, hopefully hooking it up and playing it at some point. Now, I do like to look at the Xbox 360 games and stuff when I'm there, but there's just nothing really that takes my fancy as I'm collecting for the PlayStation 3. However, other than the obvious Halo and Gears of War, if you've got any Xbox 360 or Xbox One exclusive recommendations, drop them in the comments below and I might pick them up in the future. Up next, we've got this cool box of Action Men. Now, I used to have loads of these when I was younger, so it's cool just having a little trip down memory lane looking through those. I did accidentally knock one of the accessories out of the bag, so I did pick that back up and pop that back in. And then, as you can see, we've got way more 360 games here. They did seem to have 2 walls of Xbox 360 games, whereas the PS3 seemed to just have the one. But actually, looking back, I think this wall is mixed. So you've got Wii there and 360. There's a few cool Steelbooks which I noticed, which I did pull out. Now, I do think I have all of these, but they were reasonably priced. Some of them were a bit damaged and rusty, which it typically happens with the older Steelbooks. Moving on to the Wii section. Now, I was a little bit annoyed at myself actually, because I was looking for some first party Nintendo games like the Mario and sort of Animal Crossing and things like that on the Nintendo Wii, and looking through it's all just shovelware. And then as I'm looking back at the footage, as you can see those red spines, if you pause it, there is quite a lot of first party Mario games. I did forget to have a look through those. I sort of had a glance and saw shovelware and didn't really pay too much attention to those ones. We've got some nice Wii U titles on the end though, and then we've got these nice figures. So there's an N64 hooked up there with GoldenEye. I was tempted to play it, but I didn't want to overstay my welcome too much. Cool little Frankenstein dude there. Then we've got the Sega Genesis or the Mega Drive hooked up there. A few PSP games. Now, I don't know what this was. I believe these were some Japanese sort of games. And then in here we've got some loose cartridges. In this big chest of drawers, there were lots of figures, which I didn't realise until one of the shop workers told me later on. And I had a rummage through. I think we've got some Crazy Bones or some Go-Go's in there. And then we've just got some sort of random figures in there. I believe there was a drawer with Star Wars in as well. There's some Scooby-Doo ones in here. I'm not sure what those ones are. But yeah, those are the Scooby-Doo figures. And then this guy, I thought I recognised him, but no idea where that's from. And in the next drawer, we got this Thunderbirds toy. I think there's a turtle in there as well. So there's quite a lot of random ones in this drawer. I believe there were some Star Wars and Lord of the Rings figures and stuff as well. And then in the end drawer, there's some Imaginext, DC, sort of Batman, Joker, etc. Lots of figures in there. I think there's some Marvel as well. I can see that Hulk in the bottom corner. Now, in this drawer was a lot of Star Wars figures. I believe a lot of them were vintage, and that's one thing that I don't really know about that I should. I've never seen the Star Wars movies or shows, so most of the characters I only know through reselling, and I know some of them can fetch a lot of money, so it's probably worth checking them out. In this section, there was lots of figures from movies, TV shows, lots of series, comic books, all reasonably priced as well. They also had quite a lot of pop vinyls, not just cheap and rubbish ones. They had quite a lot of sort of pop culture ones as well, so it's good rummaging through those if that's your thing. And then you move on to the Sega Master System. This is the console that I've never played or owned. I have played the Mega Drive before, but never the Master System. Now, this is where I started to get excited because I went to the till and asked what sort of PlayStation 3 games they had, and he said he had a load in the day before, and a lot of them were rare titles, so I had to sift through. Now, there was one or two that I picked out. I really regret not getting that Red Dead Redemption Limited Edition because that was a really nice slipcover. Now, these are the glass cabinets I was telling you about. So in here, we've got a load of PlayStation 1 games, and they're double stacked, so you could have spent all day looking through them. I'm not really collecting for PS1, so I did try and have a quick look and see if there's anything I fancy, but you could literally spend hours rummaging through those cabinets. At the back of the store, they've got a load of vinyls. Now, that's not really my thing again. It's not something that I know a lot about. I know there's a lot of vinyls that are absolutely worthless, and there's a lot as well that are worth quite a lot of money. So as a reseller, that's something that I probably should learn a bit more, but it's not really my type of thing. They have a lot of cool CDs as well, if that's your type of thing. I liked the rock and metal ones they had. Now, this box is quite interesting. They had a trade in the day or two before of Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games, and I asked if I could have a look through it, which they let me. So a lot of these hadn't been priced up yet, so I kind of got like a sort of exclusive look in. There was a really cool Robot Wars one, which you'll see me pick up now. It wasn't complete, but I did pick that game up because I used to love Robot Wars as a kid. And the box art was really cool. A lot of the condition on these games were really good. Obviously, you get general wear and tear, and some of the flaps might be a bit sort of battered. All the boxes are ripped, or the manual's missing or something. But on the whole, the condition was good on these. Moving on to the Game Boy Advance cartridges, Nintendo DS, and then underneath we've got the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance all boxed. There were some really good ones in there, and I spent a good amount of time rummaging through, and I did pick some up. Now, this is the end of the video and the end of the footage, so let's go back and review what I picked up from the store. I hope you enjoyed the footage. So we're back in the game room, and as you will probably notice straight away, I have had a haircut. So this video is about 11 days after I actually went. I think I went on Saturday and it's now Tuesday. By the time this gets uploaded, it's going to be Wednesday. So I do apologise for the slight delay in that, but you know, things get in the way, and I have had quite a busy schedule. But anyway, so entertainment world then. So it's about half an hour drive from where I live. It's been 3 years in the making for me. From when I discovered this shop existed, I followed it on Facebook and I wanted to visit, and I just haven't. I think COVID hit, and then after that I just sort of either haven't had time or forgot. So I'm glad I finally got round to going. As I said at the start of the video, I forgot to get footage of the outside, but first impressions, the shop itself, if you were driving past, you possibly wouldn't notice it. It is on the corner of like a busy roundabout, but if you're walking past, they've got this great big entertainment world sign, neon signs, there's a great big Mario, so if you're actually looking for it, you can't really miss it. It looks great. In the window, they've got a selection of games from all different consoles, so they've got enough to sort of lure you in. And once you get inside, I was actually surprised how big it was. It was almost like a TARDIS. You go in and it looks kind of small on the outside, but the amount of space in there, well, there's so much stuff in there, it looks quite cramped, but you get in and there are so many things in there. It is literally like Aladdin's cave. You've got like comic books, VHS, you've got music, vinyls, cassette tapes, all sorts. Then there's a range of sort of all the PlayStation consoles, all the Nintendo consoles, Sega. And I didn't see too many like really retro stuff. There was a lot of cassette tapes for things like the Spectrum. So I've picked up that console before, so I know what those games are. But there were other cassette games from probably before my time that I've never played. So there really is something for everyone, whether you're an old gamer or you're into modern games. There's literally so many games, and not even games, there's toys, figures, there was even shoes. I didn't get any footage of the shoes, but they had like Vans shoes with Freddy Krueger on, like horror shoes, they had Simpsons shoes, South Park shoes. There was so much cool stuff in there. I could have spent even longer, but I was there for about 2 hours, and I looked through probably once and then asked if I could recorded some footage of the store, and then I went round a third time just at my own leisure, sort of picking out anything that I wanted to buy. So how much did I spend? Well, I spent £300. It was £299 my total bill. And Rob, the manager of the store, I had a little chat with him. I've never met him before, but I had a chat with him and just mentioned about the videos and asked if I could record. And he gave me 10% off, which was nice. Had spent a long time in there, and I did pick up quite a big stack of games, so that was really nice of him to give me a discount. So the prices then, in terms of the price of the games, everything was fairly priced. I noticed there were some things that were slightly overpriced, and then there was other things that were either bang on or slightly less than eBay. And as I said, like I managed to sort of get a bit of a discount. I'm sure if you haggled as well, I didn't want to haggle as I'd already received the 10% off, so I felt that was the fair price. But I'm sure if you went in and sort of bartered a bit, if there was something you're interested in that you felt was a little bit overpriced, I'm sure you'd be able to get a good deal on it. So in terms of pricing, you can't really fault it. Everything was spot on. And yes, so what did I buy? So spent £270. There were 5 different game consoles that I bought games for, and technically 6, but I did buy some cases, so I'll get into what I purchased. Now the first console is the Game Boy Color. So we picked up this copy of A Bug's Life. Now I'm just looking through the games now because they are in a bit of a random order. So I got 2 Game Boy Color games. So the first one's A Bug's Life. Now ignore that says $24.99 from Smith's. The condition is perfect. Now there is a slight dent here, but I think I might have done that because when I picked this up, this thing was mint, and there's just no damage to the box other than a tiny little bit. It did fall off my bookcase, so that's my fault. But inside this one specifically, it's got the baggie in there, the manual as well, so that is as perfect as can be. That was only £10 even in that condition, so I'm really happy with that. So my aim really with some of these games was for the nostalgia. I picked up sort of the cartoons that I used to watch as a kid, or the films that I remember, certain games, so Disney games are something that I really enjoy, especially on the PlayStation 1, but I just love the box art on this, and for £10 in this good condition, I couldn't really say no. So that was the first one that I picked up. Now the next one, me and my girlfriend recently have been playing Rugrats on the PS1, so I've never seen this specific game. I may give this to her to play. I probably won't play it, but this was Rugrats Totally Angelica. Now this was another one that was just in really good condition. Like, this game's probably what, 25, 30 years old, maybe more, and the condition of it is really, really good. Comes with the manual complete, £6, couldn't argue with that one. Now moving on to the next console, so we've got Game Boy Advance. So I really love rally games and the Colin McRae Dirt series, or now Dirt, but it used to be called Colin McRae. So this is Colin McRae Rally 2.0. Now I picked this one up. I do already own this in my collection, but the box that I had is all beat up and battered, so I'm going to be selling that one on eBay. And this is more of a condition upgrade, but look at the condition on that. That's another one that's really mint. This was also £10. Obviously I got 10% off everything, so this cost me £9. But I can't really complain. So if we open this one up as well, you've got the manual in there. Try not to sort of bend the flaps here. So you've got the manual, and you've got the there's no bag, but you've got everything inside. So that's another one that is complete. And then the next one, I used to love the Scooby-Doo movies as a kid, and the cartoons. So this is a bit of an obscure one. This is a 2-in-1 pack. So this has Cyber Chase and Mystery Mayhem. Now if we take a look inside, I believe it's complete. It does have the cartridge and there is a manual. The cool thing I like with the manual is there's a bit of Nintendo sort of information there. But what I like about the manual is because it's a 2-in-1 game, it's a double-sided manual. So one side is one game, and when you flip it round, so there's the first one, and then when you flip it round, you've got the other manual there. So the next game I picked up was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now I do enjoy the Harry Potter games. I did like the early ones on the PlayStation 1 and the Game Boy Advance. I'm talking like the Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. Now I think I've got one on Game Boy Color and one on Game Boy Advance, but I do have the first Harry Potter and the second Harry Potter game. So I've never played the Prisoner of Azkaban, especially on the Advance, but I do have the first two, and I also have the Goblet of Fire on the DS as well. The Goblet of Fire, especially on the PS2, was such a great game. So yeah, I do quite enjoy the Harry Potter games. I like the sort of art style as well and the graphics. So yeah, I might give this one a go just for nostalgia. The next game, oh, what a game. So I had this was when I picked up the Game Boy Advance, Harry Potter and Sonic Pinball. I think there was like a Sega collection with I think it was Sonic Pinball, Golden Axe and Echo the Dolphin. So I got those three games and they were quite difficult, but I did enjoy them. And I also had, I think, a Zelda game, Four Swords maybe. So those were the two that I originally got with the console. And then when I got some pocket money, I remember going to Tesco and this was on sale, I think, for like £25. So I picked this one up, and I only really remember the first couple of missions. But the first mission was you literally just go around delivering pizzas. Now, as a kid, I found it quite difficult to do it in the time limit, so I just remember that first level just playing it over and over again. But I didn't get bored of it. I just kept replaying it and replaying it. So I just distinctly remember the first mission, just going around delivering pizzas, beating up some bad guys. So yeah, I saw this. This was £10. It is a bit beat up and not in the best condition, but it does have the manual in there. It has the baggie and has the obviously you got the game, you got the manual, got the bag. It's got all the paperwork with it as well, like the health and safety manual, etc. So it is 100% complete. It's just a shame about the box. Maybe in future I will upgrade this. So for me, I'm going for a full PS3 collection, as I mentioned in the video, but things like the Game Boy Advance and the PS1 and PS2, I'm only really collecting games that I either used to play as a kid or games that I wanted to play as a kid and just never got around to picking up. So this is definitely one to add to the collection for me. So I'm not going to go and hunt down all the Game Boy Advance games, but I definitely want to pick up either, as I said, the ones with cool box art, or games or movies or TV shows that I enjoyed. So that's one, which brings me on to this one here, which is Robot Wars Destruction. Now, I remember playing the PS2 version. I don't remember the Game Boy version, but I saw the box art and immediately had to have it. So this one's really cool. This one does not have the manual or the inserts, but again, we've got the baggie, which is cool, and then we've also got the cartridge there. So I will look forward to playing this one. I think there was a second game on the Game Boy Advance, which I do have. I think I bought it for about £2, and I did briefly play it, but I don't think it was this one. I could be wrong, but I think there's a second game as well. So I may have both of them, but I only have the box for this one. Now, leading on to the PS3. So this was one of the games where my only gripe with the store was that they didn't put the manuals in with the boxes, but I completely understand, you know, if they put some rare games out, or someone pinches the manual, or someone puts a manual inside another game or something like that. So I get why they do it. I just maybe wish that they put like a price and then put no manual. That's the only gripe I had, because I had to ask at the till, and unfortunately they didn't have it. But I do have this one for the collection, so they priced it at £10. CEX was selling it for 12, and I think on eBay it was about the same price. So it was £10 minus the 10%, so it's £9 in total. So I think £3 to not have the manual's not terrible. I can hunt one down, or if I find one in CEX I can get a condition upgrade. But yeah, that's Bakugan Battle Brawlers, one to add to the collection. I do have the other Bakugan, so I have both of them on PS3 now. And the last one of the last classic HD games I need is the Ratchet and Clank trilogy. This is one of the ones I just never got around to buying, and in lockdown this went through the roof. It went to like 50, 60, 70 pound. So it has come back down again. It's around about £35 mark. Now I think they priced this at £35, but again I got the 10% off, so it cost me about £31.50. But it is complete with the manual, really good condition, so I'm happy to add that one to the collection. Now the next game, or the next console should I say, is PS1. So I only picked up one game for the PS1, but it is the Grand Theft Auto Collector's Edition. Now when I saw this, they had two copies. One was pretty beat up, but this one was in really good condition. So I asked how much this was, and they wanted £55 for it. Now I looked on eBay and it was going for 70 or 65, I think was the cheapest one. Now the condition inside is perfect. You've got the two discs there, and then there should be a third disc as well in there. Now it does have, this is why I picked it up, not only does it have the manuals, it also has the maps as well. So it comes with 3 games. You've got Grand Theft Auto 1, 2 and London. So we've got the first manual and the map. we've got the Grand Theft Auto London manual and the London map, and then we've also got the GTA 2 manual and the GTA 2 map. So that game, as far as I'm aware, is fully complete, and it's really good condition, and it was cheaper than eBay and in better condition than the ones on eBay, so I was very happy with that pickup. I do have the game separate, so I have GTA 1, 2 and London just on their own. The only one that's missing the manual is GTA London, so I will pick that up down the line. So I now have the standard 1, 2, 3, and I have the sort of multi-pack, the collector's edition one. So I'm very happy with that. I will get around to playing them at some point, especially with GTA 6 being announced and on its way. Well, obviously it's been announced for years, but with the trailer dropping, I will get around to playing those GTA games at some point. But yeah, I'm really impressed with the condition on that one, so I was very happy to add that one to the collection. Now the last, so when I said there were 5 consoles, there's actually 6, but they don't have any games in, so I collect Steelbooks. So they had some Switch Steelbook cases. I did pick some up. So the first one, I believe this is Mario Kart. So we've got the Mario Kart. Inside it's got all the, obviously it says Mario Kart, it's got all the logos and stuff. Doesn't say anything on the spine, but it's got Mario on the front with the trophy. I asked how much this one was, and it was going for £20. I couldn't find one on eBay, but I didn't realise it was Mario Kart until I sort of paid for it, so I should have searched Mario Kart Steelbook. Instead I took a photo of it and I searched sort of Mario red Steelbook or something like that on eBay, so I couldn't actually find it, but the one I did find that was similar was selling for sort of £20–30, so I thought £20 wasn't too bad for that one. I will pick up the game at some point and pop that in there. Now the next one is this Atari Flashback 25th Anniversary Edition. This is a limited run game, so there's no game inside, but there is the sort of limited run like collector's card to say what number it is. So there were 40,000 of these made, so it's probably not that rare. There's obviously 40,000 Steelbooks, I'd imagine, unless this was the collector's edition and they did like a standard version, a collector's edition version, so I don't know, but I'd imagine there'd be 40,000 Steelbooks, so I can't imagine this is that rare. It was £15. I didn't do any research on this one, I just thought I haven't seen it before, so I'm happy to add it to the collection. So I don't know whether that was overpriced or underpriced, but on the whole I researched everything else while I was there, and the prices I was very happy with. Now the last one, this was still sealed, there's no game inside, but this is Luigi's Mansion 3. As I said, still sealed, so I put it in a box protector. I'm really happy to add that one to the collection. I do like the first party Nintendo Steelbooks, so I have a very small collection, probably about 7 or 8 Steelbooks that I've got, so I'm happy to add this one to the shelf. Now, the very last game I picked up, I purchased a load of Pokemon games the other week. You may have seen the video, and with that I'm not trying to get every single Pokemon game, but I am on that sort of like Pokemon hype, so to speak. Now all the games rose during lockdown, and in the last year they've inflated massively, and I kind of missed the boat on them, so I've sort of said to myself I'm not going to go and collect them all. However, since picking that bundle up, I have sort of got that bug where I want to go and get as many as I can whilst they are somewhat affordable. The price has come down slightly. So this one is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. This is the Nintendo Switch version. Comes with the Pokeball, and it's all complete in the box. Comes with the game as well, so we've got the game in there, and this one actually does have the cartridge as well. So that is the final game. So overall I don't think I did too badly. I picked up a nice stack of games, spent quite a lot of money, but there's a few rare ones and big hitters in there which I like, and there's quite a lot of nostalgia. So I think overall, if you're gonna go check the store out, it's definitely worth it, definitely worth the drive, good value for money. And I think even if you don't buy anything, it's worth the experience just to go around. You don't see shops like this very often, and it's nice to just have all these rare and expensive games as well as some cheaper stuff all in one place under one roof, and you could literally spend hours in there. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. And that's my sort of visit slash review slash pickups of Entertainment World. So thank you very much for watching. If there's any more stores local to Birmingham or even around the country that you think I should check out, leave it in the comments below, and if I'm on my travels I might visit them and do a similar video on that one. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. It helps the channel out, helps me out, and we'll see you on the next video.